So you know what they did. You know it wasn't love. You even know it wasn't real. And still, somehow, you miss them. Not every second, not every day, but just enough to make you question yourself. Enough to make you wonder, what's wrong with me? The answer is nothing. You're not broken, you're not weak, and you're definitely not addicted to drama. This is what it feels like when your nervous system hasn't caught up to what your brain already knows. And if this feels familiar, take the free quiz I created to help you get to the bottom of it. It'll show you whether you're trauma bonded and which part is keeping you stuck. My name is Christina, and I've been through the cycle myself. And I know it's far from a clean break when you get out. The aftermath is actually the worst part of it all. But I can tell you with confidence that it is so much brighter on the other side. But before we can get there, we have to deal with that darkness. So let's talk about that sinking feeling when missing them feels like a setback. There's this moment that catches people off guard. You've done the hard part already. Maybe you even went no contact, or maybe you're finally seeing things clearly. And then out of nowhere, it hits you. You miss them. Not just a passing thought, but this ache that shows up in your chest or your stomach or somewhere you can't quite name. And right behind it comes this self doubt. It makes you question how far you've actually come, whether the clarity you felt was real or if some part of you still wants them back. But here's what's really happening. Your brain might understand the truth, but your body isn't quite there yet. It's still operating off of the old rhythm, the one where chaos felt normal, the one where tension meant connection. So when things are finally calm, when your system isn't on high alert anymore, it doesn't feel like peace. It feels like something's missing. And your mind goes searching for what used to fill that gap, even if that thing was never safe to begin with. And that doesn't mean you're failing. It means your nervous system is still trying to make sense of what safety actually feels like. And unlearning what you used to associate safety with takes more than just time, it takes serious intention. The trauma bond isn't just a thought loop. So people think that once you understand what happened, the feelings will just follow. Like if you know how they were a narcissist or that the relationship was abusive, all of the pain should just stop. But your nervous system doesn't work that way. It doesn't sort things into true or false, healthy or toxic. It responds to patterns. And if the pattern you lived in was push-pull, love, then punishment, intensity, then silence, that rhythm becomes familiar, even if it hurts, even if it made you anxious all the time. That cycle still created moments of relief. And your body started chasing those moments, even while the rest of you was falling apart. And this is why it's so confusing, because it's not about what you believe. It's about what your body remembers and how it learned to survive. It remembers that too. So when you're suddenly out of that cycle, the stillness doesn't feel like soothing, like you think it probably should. It feels like something's missing. And that absence gets misread as longing. You're missing the version that felt real, but wasn't the whole truth. So there's a version of them your body still remembers, the one who made you feel seen, who said all the right things at all the right times, the one who showed up in just the way you needed right before they changed again. And it's not wrong to miss that version, because parts of it were actually real. We're not trying to take those parts away or say they didn't exist. We're not gaslighting ourselves here. But we do need to recognize that those parts existed in a vacuum and they were not the full picture. They were pieces of a person who couldn't sustain the connection, or more importantly, wouldn't. We have to acknowledge that maybe it was a choice. And that acknowledgement is the hardest part, because what you miss, it felt so genuine. But if it was only present when things were going perfectly or when you were performing the way they wanted, it wasn't something you could count on. So no, you're not missing the narcissist. You're missing the emotional high that came when things seemed to click. You're missing the hope, the closeness, and the belief that maybe, just maybe, it was all going to level out. But what your nervous system attached to was not a full person. It was a moment, a feeling, maybe a pattern. And the more you start to see that clearly, the less power it has to pull you back in. What you're feeling is withdrawal, not love. So this part messes with people because the sensations are intense. Maybe you can't sleep or eat, or maybe you're eating too much. Your chest feels heavy and it starts to feel like something's wrong with you, like you're broken because you still feel drawn to someone who hurt you. But what you're feeling isn't proof of love like you might be telling yourself. It's actually withdrawal. When you're trauma bonded, your nervous system is swinging between stress and relief constantly back and forth. You get hit with cortisol when they're cold or critical, and dopamine when they suddenly pull you close again. And that cycle creates an emotional high. And even though it's painful, it becomes addictive. And when you leave, that chemical hit disappears, and your body goes into panic mode, searching for the thing that used to calm the storm, even if it was the storm itself. And this is biology. It doesn't mean you secretly want them back. It means your nervous system is doing what it was trained to do: survive through intensity. And now, without that intensity, it doesn't know what to cling to. And that is not love. That's a pattern your body learned under pressure. And the good news is that patterns can be unlearned when missing them is really about you. So there's something kind of beautiful that happens when you stop seeing the missing as a weakness. Because sometimes that ache isn't about going back. It's about what's ready to be seen. It's that part of you that was willing to settle. That version of you that tried so hard to be enough. The one who shaped and reshaped yourself around someone else's approval because it felt safer than being rejected yet again. So when the thoughts come up, when you start missing them out of nowhere, it's not a sign that you made the wrong choice by leaving or staying away. It's a signal. Your nervous system is calling out for something familiar. And your deeper self might be trying to tell you what still needs care and attention. And this is where healing turns inward, not towards the narcissist, not towards the fantasy, but finally towards you and towards needs that kept getting pushed aside every time you tried to hold that relationship together. So what if the ache isn't a longing for them? What if it's a longing for you? What actually ends the missing? So I'm going to let you in on a little secret. You don't stop missing the narcissist by forcing yourself to move on. That does not work. You stop missing them when your body learns what safety feels like without them in the picture. That's the shift that no one talks about. Not just cutting contact, but building a new kind of internal stability. One that doesn't depend on emotional chaos to feel alive. It's quiet and it's steady. And at first, it feels all kinds of wrong. Because if you've been trained to find connection through intensity, peace can really feel like something's missing. But the more you experience calm without collapse, and the more you recognize real safety when you feel it, that's when something changes. And it doesn't change all at once, but it changes slowly. So you don't stop missing them in one dramatic moment. You stop missing them in the small, quiet ones, when you realize you'd rather sit in stillness than go back to the storm. So if any part of this landed with you, if you've been judging yourself for still missing them or wondering why it's taking so long to fully let go, just know there is nothing wrong with you. You are not weak. You're just not going backwards. You're healing from something that was designed to keep you hooked. And if you want to go deeper into why trauma bonds are so powerful and how they're formed in the first place, watch this video next. And before you go, be sure to hit that like button if you haven't already, and I'll see you again soon.